Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, pick guardian.
Jared Brandon One Pickups.
Hey, it's me, Todd Novak. We are thrilled to death that you are hanging out with us on this particular show, the Guitar Knobs podcast. Oh man, this has been one heck of an episode already because, well, I'll tell you that in a second. Well, Tony, what do we do on the show?
Do we like to talk to people
We do.
about gear?
Yes.
And about makers of gear?
Makers of gear, guitar gear.
Guitar gear and
Amp gear.
amps and pedals and
Accessories.
and
Humans that are contributing to the guitar world.
Wow, I didn't realize we did all that.
I categorize that as a new category.
That's a new category.
We have a new drop down.
Previously untouched.
Yes. Well, I don't know if they are, but this one is. So anyways, hey, everyone. We'd like to welcome a very special somebody to the show.
Alec Breslow, Mask Audio Electronics.
Yay.
All right. Alec, my man. We are thrilled to have you on the show again. So let me explain this real quick. We recorded, so some of you probably saw that we had posted that up on the highlight on Instagram, and he did. You posted one up as well, and then we were reposting those, and so everybody was like, "Oh, cool, he's on the show." Well, when I went to go edit it, I'm just going to say this is Use Your Air. First time in 145 episodes, we just basically got static. So I don't know what the cause of it is. I'm going to blame it on me.
Well, we're just going to say you won't be here next week.
Yeah, you're going to replace me because I
Get your
certainly
stapler
don't think,
and take it out of here.
Yeah, I don't think it's the sweet machine here, which is made by Rode Microphones. Thank you, Rode, for providing the Rode Procaster mics and
Articulating
the
words.
Rodecaster Pro.
Maybe they should rename it as the Toddcaster.
Oh, I like that. And the Rodecaster Pro unit that is our mothership thing that is doing it. It's all great and it's all good and it's going to be a happy, fun time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to mention why this was screwy coming into today. So the fobs to get into our studio on our keychains
This has been,
didn't work.
It's not even Friday the 13th.
The street outside is being repaved, so there was no parking.
No parking. You had to park in a weird spot.
So we had to go in through a side, like a back door through a restaurant
Through
to
a
get
bar.
into the building, through a bar, and then
Up a
somehow-
set of
Isn't
stairs.
everything in Columbus through a bar?
But yeah, pretty much.
Pretty
That
much.
is true. That is true. All business is done through a bar. Anyways, all right. Let's find out. We already kind of went through a few little episodes. Figure out what's happening in our music worlds this week, ladies and gentlemen, or just at least less gentlemen. Tony.
This week, I had the pleasure of seeing one of my all-time idols and one of my favorite bands, and they happen to be playing together.
Amazing.
One of my all-time idols would be Nick Lowe,
Oh.
and he was backed by Los Straitjackets.
Whoa.
And it was I'm gonna say that this show was on one of my top 10 of all time.
Ooh.
It was it was just an incredible show. The two styles, obviously those Straitjackets are primarily kind of a surf instrumental band
They were
with Mexican wrestling masks.
Yes.
But that's
Right.
their shtick, man.
What venue did they play at?
They played at Rife Center.
Okay.
They have a theater at Rife Center that
Right on.
it's pretty small. I think it's like 1,000 seats or something. But
So a lot of people, man.
there were I guess. But anyhow, it was just an incredible show. The sound was spectacular. It was actually a quiet show. I expected, because every time I've seen Los Straitjackets before, it's pretty ruckus. Mm-hmm. And it was very. There were points where you could hear a pin drop, and it was really, really
Pins are
good.
dropping.
Pins are dropping.
I can't name a single Nick Lowe song
Cruel to Be Kind.
except for "Cruel to Be Kind."
Geez, there's just like
There's
a
so
boatload
many.
of them.
They're on the
He
tip
wrote
of
He wrote "What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding." That was
For Elvis.
Well, he recorded it first, but Elvis re-recorded it.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yes.
He recorded it, and then Elvis took it, so he kind of recorded it for Elvis.
Nick Lowe probably has only about 20 albums or so.
Sure, I'm not doubting it.
He was in Rockpile for a while with Dave Edmunds and Billy Bremer, and
yeah,
this
is a very special part of the musical universe.
It is.
Okay.
And he produced Elvis Costello and other acts.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
Well, that's great.
And he had a really cool guitar, and I had to do a little research to figure out what it was. He played primarily acoustic guitar. Well, actually, that's all he played that night. And it was a really super fancy Gibson SJ200 Super Jumbo. And this one in particular was odd, and it had extra binding on it. It had, the old script style Gibson, like from the 40s. And it turns out it is a Gibson SJ200 Western Classic. And it's basically a take off of the Ray Whitley. SJ.
Ray.
You remember Ray, like it was just yesterday. But anyhow, it's a really cool guitar. Look it up online. I've got some pictures of it from the show and some other things. But it's just a really cool looking guitar. I love SJ200s, but this one is just, and it's got an old style, like almost like a bound pickguard on it, not the usual flowers and dots and cactuses and stuff.
Interesting.
Very cool.
All right.
Sound was great.
Excellent.
I enjoyed myself.
Let's talk to Alec. Alec, what did you do? What's going on in your musical world this week?
Not much, actually. So the full-time student thing has really started taking up a lot more of my time. Pretty much I'm going to school 4 days a week for 3 to 12 hours a day, depending upon the day. But today I got something, actually right before we recorded this podcast, something very cool and a little bit sentimental to me. I got Corey Bardos's Midnight Amplification Pale Horse. Corey Bardos is the guy who runs the FYEP blog. I cannot say its full name on air, or else Todd will have to hit the bleep button.
Okay. I think we can probably get the idea.
So yeah, it's kind of a clone, an Australian made clone of the, what is the brand? Death by Audio reverberation machine.
Okay.
Oh.
Except it's got this beautiful black sparkle background. It's got Corey. He made it specific for Corey, so it has this very specific red typeface on it. It's really cool. He sent it over to me to be fixed because I think the guy who built it used solid core wiring. So I think a lot of the wiring in between being shipped from Australia to the United States probably got shot.
Whoa.
But yeah, so anyway, it's sentimental to me because Corey is the one that actually introduced me to the work of John Snyder, who ended up being very important to me. So things came full circle to me today.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Also, drink.
Yes, it drank twice. Did it come with a bloomin' onion?
It did not. It just came from Kalamazoo. So.
Oh. What you doing there, Todd?
There's a lot of good breweries there in Kalamazoo, actually.
Yeah.
Bells.
Is it?
Bells.
Is there?
Bells is the big one.
Okay. Yeah, I've never made it over that way.
Literally 2 blocks away from the old Gibson factory.
Yeah.
They're very cool. Tony, ask Jared what he was doing.
Hey, Jared, what you doing this week, man?
So I've been plugging a lot of guitars in a lot of my amps and to try to figure out what amp I use the most and what amp sounds good, that makes all the guitars sound good, because some amps don't make, the Tellys sound good or the Strats sound good, so on and forth. And my Black Star HT60 combo makes every single guitar I own sound good. I don't know why. Can't explain it. But it just, all of them sound good through that amp.
That must be the one good one.
It rings at the fundamental frequencies of your ears.
It does sound better. The speaker in it is, I don't like it. Like the speaker isn't great, so I plug it in my Marshall a 412.
Yeah.
But the amp sounds really, I mean, I don't know. It's like built boutique-y. I think it's got some, I don't know. Anyway, it just, I can't explain why, but it just makes all the guitars sound good. And that's what I figured. I mean, I've got some really cool old vintage amps too, some old Marshalls. Got an old Fender twin reverb. But they all sound good. Now, a lot of them sound good through the reverb, but I'm going to, if I just want to plug in real quick, I just go to the Black Star. And that's what I found out this week.
Well, that's cool.
That's about it.
I like that.
Todd, how about you?
Well, let's see here. I satined all my painted guitar necks.
You satined them.
Satined them. Yes, I was having some trouble with some sticky necks, and I just, I got a little bandana that I wipe them off with and stuff. But I was just like, man, it's not the same thing. If I play the Telly that has my satin neck, the Nashville, it glides. So I'm like, all right, I need to do this. But I didn't want to ruin anything because I tried that before, and I got a little bit too heavy with the grit, just a touch. So I checked in with my pal Chase Gullett from Chasing Vintage Guitars, and he said, hey, man, this is what you need. And he showed me it's basically the same kind of pad you used to do car paint with. So it's got a pad on it, and I want to say it was like 3,000 grit.
Oh, 3,000 grit. I was going to say 2,000 grit.
No, I think it was 3,000 grit.
Oh, wow.
I could be wrong.
I think you're wrong.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I think I'm wrong.
I think you could be
Probably
wrong.
2,000. 2 or 3,000.
Don't quote me on the grit because I don't have it right in front of me. But anyways,
3,000 wouldn't really touch much.
Probably
No.
2,000.
I'm thinking more like 800.
I can't remember what the grit is. Doggone it. Now I sound like an idiot.
What's
but
the
that's
true
okay.
grit?
It's not the first time. Anyways, it was a very high grit.
Right.
Okay.
On this week's Grit
Yes.
podcast.
and I had to get it at AutoZone
Wasn't 80
because
grit.
Home Depot doesn't sell that kind of thing. So
Oh no, the max we go up to is 1,000.
aha, yeah, that's right. He works at Home Depot. See, so
That's
it was
nuts.
3,000 because
That is
6,000 is
nuts.
basically like silk, but it still does it. It polishes it.
Well, you could have just stopped at my shop and used some of my micro mesh.
Yes, I might. Well, I didn't. So, anyways,
But you didn't, and I'm offended, and I'm leaving right now.
I know. Anyway,
Do you
so
hear his footsteps? They're walking away.
so I put it on. I took some time and I got it all satined up, and the Hagstrom Viking is nice and smooth right now, which is great. But here's the weird thing: the Les Paul neck has this one spot, and it's just one single spot. And after playing, it's like this one tiny spot just gets gummy still, and I don't know why. I don't know how to fix that. I'm considering taking it down to wood. I'm just considering. I'm looking at my kids' violins. I'm like, those are wood. I've had other guitars where it's just the wood that is like, with the
Maybe there's a knot
the
in that
oiled
spot.
wood or whatever.
Yeah, there's probably a knot
I don't know
right
how,
there.
but it might be it's not a lacquer defect, right? It wouldn't be that.
Could be.
Well,
It's nitro, so I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's not like you paint it on; it's sprayed on.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. But it's
there's
kinda
something
driving me
about
nuts.
Gibson newer Gibson lacquer.
This is 2000.
that stays. Oh, that's newer.
Yeah,
It stays sticky,
that's what it feels like. It feels
Yeah.
like it's like
Plasticizer?
sticky,
or not enough.
or just take it
plasticizer.
down to the.
But if you took it down to the wood, or I mean, you could even shoot a semi-gloss lacquer on the back of it, and it would eat into it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll just live with it. But that's what I did.
How about a glove with no fingers?
Hey,
Paint
I could do
over it
that.
and then satin the paint.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. More to come on that. So, hey, I wanted to share something real quick. We got a note from our pal Dougie37. I believe it's Doug E37 on Instagram, and I wanted to share that.
Sure, it's not Dooge.
Well, that's what it looks like. Dooge 37. I'm pretty sure it's
Well, read
Dougie.
it, Dooge.
I'm going to read it. Hey, Todd, Jared, and Tony. First off, thanks doing what you do. Thanks for doing what you do. The cast inspires me week after week to keep up my mediocre guitar playing and crappy little effects pedal builds. Don't worry, the podcast is not the cause of the mediocre or crappy. That's just me. I'm a home player who's back after a very lengthy hiatus, 30 plus years.
We hear the story time and time again.
And of course, I'm having the time of my life playing again. Even though I'm only a home player, it is very important to me to make the sounds that I like to make. So here's my 4 on the floor. And he shared his 4 on the floor.
That's nice.
So it's the Cadlin bred Naga Viper treble booster. We just had that as a 4 on the floor recently.
I think I remember that.
Yes, sir. He says, this thing is magic in a box. Put it in front of other drives and let the fun begin. Number 2, it's a friend of ours, Lollygagger FX Canaglia.
My boy Sean.
Yep.
We loved that pedal, didn't we?
By itself, this thing is a beast, as you well know, but pair it with the Naga and it sings. Oh, and Sean is the absolute best. Shout out to Sean Wright.
I love him. He
Number 3.
lives. Sean Wright actually lives a few hours north of me in the Thumb.
Oh, the thumb of Michigan.
Yes.
I see. Number 3, Catalan Bread, Dirty Little Secret. Plexi in a box and then some. Love the versatility. Number 4, Thorpe Effects, Fallout Cloud. The fuzz to beat all fuzzes. Yeah.
I'd say the gauntlet was thrown down.
It might be. There's a lot of fuzzes out there that might have something to say about that. Anyways, so hey, thanks so much for sharing that, man. That meant a lot to us.
Thanks, dude.
We love hearing stories like that, especially when it's, not everybody's out there gigging. Not everybody wants to do that. And it's not about how active you are or like how many guitars you have or anything like that. If
Well,
you like
it is
what
about
you're
how many guitars you have.
Pretty much.
Really?
Yeah. It at the end of the day, it is, if you are enjoy doing what you're doing and you like talking about it and stuff, then you're a friend of ours and we appreciate you. So
And I think it's important. Like this gentleman was, he hadn't played for 30 years.
30 years.
And what I find is, even though I don't play out much anymore, not much at all, maybe a couple times a year, I still enjoy the challenge of learning songs, and it keeps your brain functioning like it's supposed to, I think.
Right.
I'll take
that in the Centrum.
Yeah, I'll take 15, 20-minute breaks and put on a record, like literally a vinyl record, and rock along with that, just to keep moving so it'll freeze up.
Yeah.
But I think, a good example would be Glenn Campbell. I don't know if you've seen the
I can play
I'll Be Me, or
that's a fantastic.
it's a great documentary.
Yeah, it's so good.
And they said that he's lost his ability to move, to speak, but the last thing to go was his ability to play guitar.
Yeah.
And it was so deeply ingrained in his brain that he was able to do that probably up to almost the very end.
Incredible.
So
Incredible stuff.
keep on playing.
He would start playing the same song he'd just finished because he'd forgotten that he just played that song. It was sad.
Yeah.
I think it was oh shoot, I can't remember. I just blanked out on the name. The Wire, his big country song, the High Wire,
Wichita Lineman.
Yeah, they show a clip where he plays it and then he starts playing. He goes like, "What the heck? That was really good. Let's play it again." It's like
He liked it. It's a song so nice you play it twice.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we appreciate that. So make sure you send us a little note via email or direct message on Instagram.
Please.
Hope to hear from you. All right, we have some awesomeness to do right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the floor. Alec from Mask Audio Effects. Give us your 4 on the floor.
All right, so I'll make the same joke that I did last time. My initial thought was I want to make an all EAE board, but involved a pedal that isn't out yet, Hypersleep. So I decided to go a more conventional route. So we'll start off with an EAE pedal, the Mew Blaster.
Mew.
I don't think, no, it isn't made anymore. It was one of John's early pedals. It's just the loudest boost on the face of the planet. It's really meant for, I run 2 trainer combo amps.
Yay. We love our trainers.
Yep.
Oh, they're so good.
Train us well.
I want a trainer combo.
You do it. I mean, we live in the Midwest. You can find them for pretty cheap.
Yeah, they're super cheap.
I haven't found one.
Well,
Anyways,
Just look harder.
okay.
Anyway, so I run single channel amps, and this thing, it does have a little bit of grit to it, but it's mainly just louder than anything else, and it just slams the front end of the amp, effectively becoming a second channel. Mine's one of the older ones with a big red rotary knob, which I enjoy a lot. What else can I say about it? Yeah, it just has massive amounts of headroom. So it's using a UAmp setup and an internal charge pump running, I believe, converting 9 volts to 27 volts.
I love it.
Yeah, it's real fun. So you can hit it with a really loud signal. It won't distort, but they have a warning label on it that says this might damage subsequent gear. It's really good.
Nice.
Awesome.
What trainer combos are you using?
I'm using TS20s, which is very similar to the TS15s, except this one has super tasty spring reverb.
Ah, so you're using the solid states.
Yes, I'm a big fan of solid state.
There, you said it.
Yeah.
I do. I love them. My dream amp right now is a Sun's Beta Lead.
Ah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, those things are super fun, and they just sound good.
Well, I think if you're using a lot of pedals and things, sometimes the solid state amps do work a little bit better, I think.
It depends upon how they're designed, really.
Yeah, I'm a little more old school, so solid state is almost a dirty word in my vocabulary. But I've grown to appreciate some of the things that were done, especially some of the early ones and things from the 70s.
Like PV.
Like
Old
like
PVs. Oh yeah, old PVs. Some of the like old Tolex customs.
Oh yeah,
the kind of puffy ones.
yes.
Yeah, those are real good.
Technically, tuck and roll.
There are some amazing ones of those. I just saw a stack on Craigslist. It was gold, glitter, tuck and roll.
Yep.
Full, like the tall stack. I just wanted it because it looked cool. But it was dirt cheap. I think it was $600 for the whole thing, the head and the cab.
Well, you take all the guts out of it, and then you put your favorite amp in one of the cabs.
That's kind of defeats the purpose there, Jerry.
Yeah, but it'll look cool.
Yeah, but it's gold sparkle. I mean,
I know.
get out of here.
I've got an old 215 cabinet but it's black tuck and roll, and we have that over at a practice space, and it was a great cabinet. I put new speakers in it. It sounds great.
Awesome.
215.
Yeah, it was a 215.
Wow, that's gonna move some air.
Custom bass cabinet.
Fender made those too. With JBL 15s for their Showman amps. Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Dual Showman.
215 JBLs. Yeah. They blow your eardrums out, man.
215, 315, whatever it takes.
Yeah. Okay, cool, man. So what's next?
Up next would be the old Digitech PDS 1700 Chorus Flanger.
I don't know if there's enough room on the
mouthful.
website to put.
I have that one at home.
Oh,
that's
do
a great
you?
amp. Yeah.
You're like one of the few people I've ever heard that actually owns one.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very early digital chorus flanger.
Yep.
So it was really taking advantage of what they could do, and you can actually, unlike a lot of analog pedals, you can actually adjust the delay time of the chorusing and the flanging independently, getting some
So it's like two pedals in one. It's
you can actually switch between. It's you got a bypass and a button switch between chorusing and flanging.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can. It just the chorus sounds like how chorus should sound to me.
Yeah.
It's almost like a little bit of a slapback with some motion.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, it's super good. And then I got mine's from my buddy Dan at ADD Pedals. What he does is he goes in and rips out the guts and turns some of the trim pots on the outside, so you can actually adjust the master clock control and just turn it into the most lo-fi delay you've ever heard.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's super fun. It's a pretty easy mod to do. I never heard of anyone doing it until I saw Dan do it.
Can you do them?
I could, but I would rather give money to Dan.
There you go. All right. So if anybody wants that mod,
call Dan.
Call Dan at
get a hold
ADD Pedals on Instagram.
Yeah. At where? ADP?
ADD Pedals.
All right.
I have that too. I really do.
Yes, you do have ADD. All right. Number 3.
Number 3 is going to be a little bit more normal. The Old Blood Noise Endeavors Dweller. Dweller! It is. It's a hard pedal to describe. The Old Blood calls it a phase repeater. So I actually got to talk to Dan Pihacek of Old Blood Noise, who does a lot of the digital design for their pedals about it. He was nice enough to take time over his Thanksgiving vacation to sit down with me for 4 hours and just talk all the business, gear, everything. It was really one of the best experiences I've had in pedals.
That's cool. Is he up in the Michigan way or
no? So his family is from out here, and his now wife, now fiance's family.
That's kind of backwards, but anyways,
let's get married and then
I'm remembering things in the wrong order. I do that a lot. His now fiance's family still lives up here, but yeah, they live out there in Oklahoma.
Oh,
awesome. And just in case we mentioned it and you forgot, or we didn't mention it, you're calling from Michigan.
Yes, I'm calling from Clinton Township, Michigan, about 40 minutes outside Detroit.
Gotcha. Okay, now we got a beat on it.
Yes.
Oh yes. Come find me.
Tell us a little bit about this here pedal there, buddy.
Dweller is phase repeater. So it's taking a normal phaser like MXR, phase 90, a biphase, and in between every stage of the phaser, so something like the phase 45, which is a 2-stage, the phase 90, which is 4-stage, it's putting a delay in there. And you have a knob that actually controls how much delay is between each stage. So not only do you have the phasing going on, but you have this slowly or quickly moving delay. And it creates an otherworldly sound. I've been really setting it. It has a sample and hold waveform in it. I just set the delay time to max and the sample and hold rate to max. And it just sounds like this ever shifting reverb. It sounds almost like if you took an 80s rack reverb and it ran out of RAM and it's just glitching out behind your play.
There are exactly
behind
3 people on the planet that know what that sounds like.
Oh, it sounds good. I don't know. I have never glitched out a 80s rack reverb, but now that's a goal.
Put that on your bucket list.
Yeah, or make a pedal that sounds only like that.
That sounds like a Maris pedal. I bet Maris is already working on that.
That's pretty fair.
Or convert all your pedals to rack mount.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, how about number 4?
Number 4 is going to be the Katrina Engineering Cahuela. It's made by my buddy Dan Rodriguez. He actually has a very nice job working for Sirius XM. Just moved out to LA for it, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's heading up their new LA studio. It's really cool. Cahuela is, on the surface, it is a tape machine fuzz that Dan tracked down the same quad op amp that is in the Tascam Porta Studio and replicated the front end input. So it distorts the same way that if you just plug directly into Porta Studio and recorded to tape, that's how it would sound.
Oh.
But then he just took it to other extremes. And as you crank up the gain knob, which is labeled flare, by the way, it just sounds like your amp is exploding as it enters the atmosphere of the sun. It is
Wow.
the most saturated pedal I have ever played, and I've made quite a few saturated pedals.
Yes.
And it sounds like your amp is dying.
Wow. Well, with that, I mean, everybody go out and check that pedal out.
Oh, absolutely. Go give Dave some love.
That's great. All right, man. Well, we're going to check that. I'm not familiar with the Kahoe.
I can't pronounce it either.
Yeah, but
I bet he's going to message me when this goes up. He's like, you pronounced it wrong.
Yeah.
Oops.
Some friend you are. Well, hey, thanks for sharing that. We have got to talk to you about, why you're on the show. You're making some cool pedals out there, and you already, I think. It seems as though a lot of people there's several rings of builders that we're finding that it's like little clicks and sub clicks of builder friends, and they're referencing each other constantly. You've come up a couple times, so we want to share what you're all about with our lovely audience out there.
There they all are.
Yeah.
Where?
So, Alec, you're super into electronics.
Yeah, that's the say. How about this? I originally went into electrical engineering because I thought they would teach me how pedals worked. Oh, how naive I was.
Yeah. Well, the reason I say that is because we get quite a lot of people on here that are like, I had no knowledge of electronics. I'm not like really into electronics, but I like to build pedals. But there are also folks like John or yourself or Sean Wright and Mike Trombley. They have those people and several others that we've interviewed that are like really deep into the electronics aspect of things. So how did you fall into that?
Being broke.
Okay.
like many people, I don't know. My first experience was I opened up my first pedal, which was an Electro-Harmonix double muff. And I remember staring into this thing and being like, man, this is so cool. And it's a very simple circuit. I remember also a very formative experience. My dad looking over my shoulder and looking into it and being like, how much did you pay for that? That's like 10 cents worth of components. Immediately. But yeah, I've always been the kid that takes things apart. And so when I started my college experience, I was in electrical engineering. I never got quite far enough in electrical engineering to get the circuits won. Physics just never quite clicked with me, and that was always a prerequisite for it. So I switched to IT, and then I made a concerted effort that summer to like sit down and learned how pedals worked. Not just audio circuits, but pedals. I wanted to know. So I just sat down with a breadboard and the art of electronics and just went at it until it basically I could rattle it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for those who aren't familiar with the breadboard, we have new listeners all the time who are just getting into this. Can you briefly describe what a breadboard is?
Yeah, breadboard is it's a little board with a lot of tiny slots that you can just insert electronics into and make temporary circuits. So you can insert all the components together. The board has rows and columns that are linked all together. So you can build up a circuit and test things out without having to bust out a soldering iron. So if you're sitting there and you're like, I wonder how this capacitor sounds versus this capacitor. You could just sit there for 15 minutes pulling out capacitors rather than having to unsolder it every time.
If you like playing with the Legos, you might like playing with the breadboard.
That's correct.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's sort of
as
like
long as you don't
Legos
mind
for
little
wires.
leads sticking out of your carpet.
Yeah, true.
30
true.
years ago, Radio Shack would sell those projects, like those weather projects or all that crap, and you could actually, and basically they were breadboards, and you can make all sorts of different circuitry and whatnot.
Yeah.
Does anybody know why they call them breadboards?
Because you can cut a piece of bread on it?
Yeah, I think you put bread on them after you're done with the circuit, and
Okay.
put a little butter,
Thanks.
maybe some
That's
jelly.
Pretty much what everybody expected you to say.
Breadboard? Because you got to make your bread with it later on?
That's probably it, actually. Alec, do you know why?
No, I don't.
I don't either. I'm not just trying to play smart guy here. I really don't know. So,
Oh, you
hey,
are always trying to play smart.
hit
guy.
us
Tony's
up
going
on
to look
the-
that up
I'm
while
gonna
look it up.
he's going to use the internet machine and see if we can figure that one out, so we don't look like complete idiots here.
No, we already are. We
Yeah.
don't know what it
We're
is.
fools.
Fools. So now you have, so you've got this thirst for electronics and building and like wanting to make things work. That obviously slams right up against music because you went in specifically trying to design pedals. Where were you at in your music life when these two things collided?
Well, the start of Mask Audio. So 2015 was a really bad year for me. I had a really bad breakup that led into a whole bunch of other things. And I came out of it kind of wanting to do something. And I was on Tumblr at the time.
Uh-oh.
And this guy, Schrodinger's delay pedal kept coming up. And eventually I saw him use this program called Eagle, which is a circuit PCB design program. And eventually that came out to be the longsword, and Schrodinger's delay pedal is John Snyder.
Right.
Drank. And so that was really an inspiring experience because I never thought, oh, he just made his own unique circuit from nothing. And eventually, when he moved from Connecticut back up to Boston, I bought one of those original 15, and that is still to this day probably the pedal I use the most.
Wow, that's cool.
Oh yeah, it's a super cool one. I had it acid etched by dropping acid pedal etching because the originals actually had a Sharpied on longsword.
That's
it's
awesome.
Oh yeah, you can still find a couple examples of them if you check Reverb, but that was really inspiring. And one day I just asked him, like, okay, how do you get started with this? And he's like, I just sat down with Eagle and kind of sucked until I didn't. And he gave me actually a list of rules I still give to people to this day of like, hey, if you're working on two different sides of the board, your traces should cross at 90 degrees because of coupling capacitance and all sorts of other actually very nice tips now that I look back upon it.
The thing that you just said sounds very impressive. I'm sure it's awesome.
It's actually not coupling. You don't want more coupling capacitance because that will suck your tone.
Yes. Oh, nobody wants that.
No one wants sucky tone.
No.
That's why you got to route your boards nice.
That's true.
So yeah, I spent pretty much a year just doing boards for myself. And then in February of 2016, I had a week at my day job. It was really slow at the day job. And I don't know how I figured it out, but I figured out that I spent more time working on circuit boards than I did working my job.
Oh, wow.
And at that point, I'm like, I'm spending too much time on this. I need to figure out some way for it to make money, or else what am I doing?
Right.
So I set myself a hard deadline and registered my domain, maskaudioelectronics.com.
How did you come upon that name?
It actually, so if you open up any of my pedals, there's a little doodle with a triangle and a square and 3 lines. And that actually, I've been doodling that since I was 6 or 7. And it's literally a drawing, this malformed, who's the guy with the clocks?
The guy with the clocks?
Yeah, the Milton clocks.
Oh, Dolly.
Oh, Dolly.
Dolly. It's almost this, like if you took a theater mask and then dollied it out.
So everybody else knows. Sorry, go ahead.
It's almost if you took like a theater mask and like dollied it out and melted it. I drew that when I was 5 and I'm still drawing it.
All right.
So one day, and Mask Audio Electronics, I originally wanted to do Mask Audio Devices because then the acronym would be MAD.
Ooh,
and
clever.
I'm like, nah, Earthquaker's got the devices thing on lock.
Right.
But one of these days I will make something other than a pedal. I'd like to make an amp.
Hey, now you're talking. That'd be cool.
Why not
We should do that?
Make a pickup.
No, that's not the same thing at all.
No, it's a little more challenging, but I think you could do it.
Then-
I could do it. But solid state amps, especially like the TS20 that I have, I could make that. It's laid out very much like a pedal. So I can, other than the higher voltages, I can wrap my head around that.
Yeah. Make your own version of that, but a better one.
Get the biggest spring reverb tank I can get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you're talking.
Well, that's awesome. So you got to making some pedals here, and so I think if hopefully everybody knows the drill. If you're listening to this and you have 2 thumbs available, you can check out what's on Instagram. Where can they find you on Instagram, by the way, right now?
At Mask Audio Electronics, one of the longest names in pedals.
Wow. Mask Audio Electronics.
Whole
Go
thing.
there and check out the stuff that he's got up there. And then you can go be like, oh, I know exactly what they're talking about. I did that. And that's one of the reasons I reached out to you early on when I saw the Black Math. And one of the things when I first saw it, I was like, what? That looks like a Black Flag album. That's cool. And it's not that at all, which I found out because I gave you a call. And I said, hey, I'd love to have you on the show. And you said, not yet. And I was like, well, I haven't heard that one yet before. And I thought that was actually pretty wise of you because you had that pedal, but you wanted to come on with a little bit more to offer. And I appreciate that. I think that was good foresight. And here you are now.
Yeah, man, that was back in March. And
yeah, so you've done a lot since then.
oh yeah, I've even since the last time the episode that shall not be named came out, I've had, or at least a project I've worked on come out. I did a pedal with dropping acid pedal etching. Mm-hmm. Jack Nelson contacted me to design a pedal called RIP, which takes the LM386, which is in a whole bunch of pedals.
What is that?
It's a crappy little power amp IC. So the same thing that drives your speakers, but in the same format as an op amp.
Okay.
It's in a whole bunch of pedals like the Acapulco Gold, the Sonic Titan, the Ram the Man parts. Those aren't the big ones. The Parallel Universe. And it just has this really low end pleasing distortion about it if you run it, under its relative voltage. And he's like, literally, I got a call one morning saying, hey, I'm Jack Nelson. And how about, well, I've known him for years, especially through the I Love Fuzz community. If you think your taste in pedals is weird, I suggest going to I Love Fuzz, and you will find there's a whole community of weirdo people.
And that's a website.
Yeah, it's a website, ilovefuzz.com.
All right. Everybody
It's
go
on
there.
it's on every single one of my circuit boards, or every single one of my production pedals, at least.
Awesome. So you doing that pedal, but
yeah, no, it's super fun. It's got feed. It doesn't have a gain control, which is one of the most interesting things about it. It's got a rotary knob that switches between 4 different modes, and 4 different gain responses and bass responses. And it's got a momentary feedback circuit, which also, if you set it in the right spot, also just acts as a gain boost.
This is very interesting.
It's super fun. I suggest you get one.
When are they out?
They're out now.
What?
They released two weeks ago. We're actually on the second batch.
Holy mackerel. I must have missed my email that told me that, Alec.
Well, it wasn't released by me. It's just designed and built by me.
Okay. So where can people find that?
You're going to want to go over to Dropping Acid Pedal Etching on Instagram. Talk to Jack.
All right, we're gonna look that up real quick here. Let's go back to the very beginning. The thing that I dropped a pick underneath my leg on my seat, and it looks really weird. I'm trying to find it, so I'm sure Tony's looking at it real weird right now. So the black math. This is the thing that I think probably made everybody go, what's this? Because it's cool, big format pedal. It's rather large, not too large. It's just a little bit bigger.
It is smaller than what it's based on.
Okay.
Not that much smaller. I think compared to the old bended metal boxes, it's like an inch less. It's definitely way less on the depth, but it's only got like an inch less. So it is technically pedalboard friendly. Right.
Can I say this with all due respect and admiration for the pedal? It is one of those that nobody, you didn't sit there and go like, how can I make the coolest looking, prettiest, most designy? It looks like it was designed kind of by an electronics nerd. So it has like a cool, ugly factor to it. I say that with the most positivity possible.
Yeah. So I always feel bad. Mean, right? Oh yeah. I feel bad for my graphic designer, Lissa Iacobello at Yaka Art on Instagram. I always feel bad for her because we've known each other for over a decade. So she's really good at taking my scribbles and turning it into something real. And for Black Math, I wanted it to look similar to the NYC reissue Big Muff, but enough that the extremely litigious Electro Harmonics would not come after me.
Right.
Well, I like that kind of industrial, looks kind of like
brutalist.
Yes, absolutely.
Primitive.
No, brutal.
Especially, I mean, if you look at No, it's literally just No.
Yes. Well, let's we'll get to that in a second. Tell us about what the Black Math does and why it's so cool.
I mean, it's so cool because it's so big. It's got room for tone fairies. No, I'm a big fan of the White Stripes, and so the guitarist in that band uses the first NYC reissue after Electro Harmonics moved back from Russia. And that's a very specific laid out circuit. It's very different than most other Big Muffs. It was actually designed by Fran Blanche of Frantone, which I didn't know until I started working on this. Super cool. So it's very high gain, but has a very different diode. I keep saying very different. Ugh. It has a different diode set and a very different tone control than most other Big Muffs. And especially the diodes. The diodes is the magic, because if, like the guitarist in the White Stripes, you run a very loud boost at the front of your rig, it just compresses in this amazing way. Almost, if you like crank up the boost all the way, it just cuts out with very hard pick attack. And so White Stripes Under Great Northern Lights is one of my favorite records, and I wanted to get the sound of that record, and Black Math is my attempt at it.
I see. Yeah, that specific sound, it's almost like backwards playing. Like the harder you play, the more it resists being played.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Thank you. It's also a frustrating thing to try to play when it's doing that. I think some people are kind of natural at it, but that always throws me off if I have something that's clipping like really, really, really hard. Yeah,
it's like, I don't know. I've watched enough live videos that It's definitely his pick attack. He plays with a lot of upstrokes. And so if you just play a little bit lighter with downstrokes, it won't do that. But if you just really dig in, and especially if you play with just a flurry of upstrokes, you'll get that effect.
Yeah. Interesting. Woo-wee. So let's see, that will make an awful lot of noise. That's for guaranteed, for sure.
Oh yeah, I like that I designed it for the white stripe sound, but the people it's found the most traction with is doomers, because there's no frequency limiting throughout the whole. The only thing that's like doing any frequency limiting is the tone stack. But it just lets all the bass through. And I've noticed a lot of bass guys really like the Black Math. I think that's why Matt has it still.
Gotcha.
Matt from Electro-Foods.
Right. Yeah, they make some pretty noisy pedals there, too.
They make some very noisy pedals.
Yeah. Hey, if you haven't heard the Electro-Foods episode, check it out on our website, theguitarknobs.com.
Oh yeah,
little plug there. So the other ones that we had a hold of were the yes and the no. Tell us about the yes.
Well, I'd rather start with no because that's the one that's out.
Start with the no.
No. So when I was the first pedal I ever saw was a Devi Ever Truly Beautiful Disaster, which is this freakish unit with an external feedback loop and like an optical resistor on it. It's such a weird fuzz pedal, and that messed me up to this day. And so I've always had a soft spot for those Devi Ever Tim Esconbedo, who it's a very famous Circuit Scraps website. It no longer exists, but someone has an entire archive of it. That's modern style of fuzz where it's just louder than anything else, and it just distorts itself in ways that's hard to describe. And so no was my quest to bring that back to the market, because Devi Ever was my first boutique pedal. I bought my Devi Ever bit for $100 back in 2010. I look at the market now and everything's like a minimum of like $160, which is a lot for a kid.
And that's almost on the low end of things. In a lot of cases.
Yeah, I feel a lot like average price seems to be like $225 for a good pedal.
Well, and what's nice about the Devi Ever stuff is that was easy to get into. I remember I bought a Torn's Peaker.
That's such a fun
like
one.
Torn's speaker, obviously. But it sounds like you're physically tearing a speaker if you had a mouthful of anglerfish fangs. Ooh. Yes.
That's very specific.
If you fired a cannon of nails at your amp.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
That is the sound of the Torn speaker. Yeah, the Devi Ever bit is supposed to sound like video gamey and kind of like how the Legend of Zelda sounds. No, I bought it because Robin Fink, the guitarist in Nine Inch Nails, used it. And that is, if you listen to Year Zero, that sound, that very distorted, almost sounds like it's digital. It's just so harsh and octavey. Really attracted me.
I love the emphasis you're putting into things. It's great. It's funny. I find myself doing that, and people will look at me like, wow, you're really into this, aren't you?
You made an Instagram post about when you were unboxing the pedals with Eldritch Blast, and the way you said intermodulation, I'm just like, I've never heard anyone say it that happy.
Ask him to say solderless connection.
No, I won't do it.
Oh, I know he won't do it.
Oh boy,
there's an L in there.
There is, yes.
Solder.
Yeah. Well, hey, that leads us. Why don't you head on over to the Eldritch Blast real quick?
So Okay, in the very early state, like 6 months in the starting Mask Audio, John Snyder from Electronic Audio Experiments was developing a line of do-it-yourself effects, and one of them was the Magic Missile, which had Darlington transistor pairs, which is running a transistor off of a transistor, into this PNP NPN octave pair.
Okay, that's a little bit of Greek for everybody.
Yeah, I just realized that. That's basically the two different polarities of transistor. It's how a transistor references ground voltage.
Okay. Now, help us. I'm going to try to break this down. What effect, what sound is coming from that?
So that is a way of basically squaring off your wave and making it sound like it's an octave up.
Ha! Now I got it.
Yeah, so if you use them in certain configurations, a PNP and an NPN transistor, you can make it sound like an Octavia.
Ah, okay. So depending on which one's first or something like that?
Yeah, it's a specific ordering.
Wow. Okay, we got really deep there, everybody, and some serious nerdville for electronics, and we all come out unscathed, and I think we have an idea of what this does. So that was kind of fun.
Because of my Devi Ever background, I offered a lot of input on it, and eventually, 6 months into Mask Audio, I hadn't released any pedals, and I asked John if I could do a run of it. And he's like, you know what, because you provided all this feedback on it, sure, but do something different for the tone control. And doing something different for the tone control was 4 or 5 prototypes.
Wow.
Until it was 3 prototypes before I even sent one back to John. I wanted it to be right. And so
That's pretty cool. So he is it fair to say he kind of gave you did he give you a break?
He gave me not only a break, but he also gave me free reign to run with it. So I made the Magic Missile portion of the circuit to kind of my slightly hotter spec. And then over the course of development, I added an EQ similar to the Boz HM2 heavy metal pedal, where it's an active booster cut EQ, but the tone knob, there's a bass knob and then a tone knob that is working on the highs and mids simultaneously.
Sounds like that will prevent you from messing it up.
It can prevent you from being too harsh, but one of the joys of the Boz HM2 is its mid peak is really high up in the mids. It's like, I think it's like 1.2K. So it just cuts through the mix. It's literally the cranked Boz HM2, how you're supposed to use it. Gain all the way up, bass all the way up, tone all the way up, volume all the way up. And it just sounds like a chainsaw.
Wow.
And so I took that similar concept and I modified the EQ points to something a bit more useful. I still kept that high mids because I love that sound. Mm-hmm. And then I added the 2 different toggle switches to adjust the response of the whole unit. Something
you mentioned about the mids and the high mids and cutting through the mix. It's worth mentioning some of these pedals that do like super noise or super like heavy duty lo-fi and things that may not sound quote unquote pleasant by themselves, or even with your normal pedal rig that you're putting in. Some of them are specifically designed to be used in live situations. So when you plug it in, you're like, this doesn't sound too awesome by myself in my house with my amp, and I'm not getting the full range of dynamic tone. That's because when you do get in a live situation and you have your bass player and your drummer and your vocalist, that is the thing that will cut through everything. So I say that because there have been a handful of pedals that I've gotten, in the past where I've said, I plugged in, I'm like, man, this is kind of disappointing. It just sounds weird or kind of a little bit gross. But the minute you start playing it with somebody, I was like, oh, wait, now I can totally hear it. And it sounds awesome.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of the fun things about Eldritch Blast is it's got not only a gain control, but an input bass. And that really helps where you sit in a mix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good point. So let's see. Let's hit the yes really quick.
So yes was developed alongside no. So no is very much the octave fuzz, and then I wanted something to pair it with, which would be kind of the gated fuzz. So they're pretty similar schematic wise. I made a couple parts differences because I still wanted it to be a $100 pedal, which is very hard to achieve. But yeah, yes is an extremely gated pedal, or not extreme. If you flip the toggle switch, it's not gated at all. And one of my favorite sounds with it is actually the gain all the way down without the gate, because it just opens up into like a slightly more trebly, almost fuzz face.
Okay.
And then, of course, without the gate, if you back it up, it'll almost sound like a mosquito is coming to sting your ears and suck out all your blood.
And give you West Nile virus.
Well, of course.
That's still a thing.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, there's other things too.
Oh man, I don't want to know.
There's one on your head right now.
Oh, great.
Whack.
So when are those coming out?
So no is still out. I think yes is gonna get, because I have a project with Ian Pritchard of the demo channel Collector Emitter that we've been working on really intensely for the last, it's been a year, but it's the last 3 months have been a lot of hard work. And I think due to school, I can't release both. And that one definitely takes precedence because it's just so cool.
Are you going to share that?
So this
Can you without killing us?
Well, yes, I can. This might be the first time I'm talking about it without Ian.
Exciting.
So we're working on a pedal called Part Garden.
PART as in Tom?
Part Garden. So it's kind of a play on his band name, Bot Garden. So if you took like a handful of parts and threw it out in the yard, and then you'd grow a pedal. I just threw out the idea of what would a collector emitter pedal be, and we went back and forth on a bunch of concepts and what would be doable and what wouldn't. But we came up with cascading 2 different vintage boosts together to create a fuzz. And so pretty much all the knobs on the pedal are gain knobs. So it's got a volume knob, which is a master gain knob. It's got a gain between the 2 boosts, and then it's got a gain at the front of the circuit, and then it's got a gain between 2 of the different transistors in the fuzz.
Wow.
That's a lot of gain.
Yeah.
It's very controllable because Ian was always about, it needs to have clarity, because he plays in alternate tunings and uses complex voicings. So even though it's very distorted, you still need to be able to pull out all the individual notes. And that was the hardest part. Wow. That, and the first thing we went with was 2 harmonic percolators cascading, and that is enough to pick up every AM radio station in the country.
Which could be cool.
Yeah, when cranked up, it sounded amazing, but the moment you stopped playing, it was all AM radio interference.
Sounds like Spinal Tap.
Yes,
absolutely. That was the exact phrasing we made.
If there's a chance to rename this pedal before it comes out, I have a suggestion.
Yes.
That's taken. But I have another suggestion. Again. Okay? Go with me.
I am working on a
Go
maybe.
with me. AGAIN. So it's be like a gain.
A gain. Yeah.
No.
That's a text joke.
No.
Doesn't work. Yeah. You got to see that one. Write it out. Everybody who's listening, just write it out on paper and then go like, "Hey, Todd, that was pretty good, man."
Yeah, they won't be saying that.
All right.
So go into your site. You have a lot of. I'm assuming you got your start doing a lot of DIY things for circuit boards. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's still most of what I offer to the world are DIY circuit boards, where I've drawn up the circuit board for you, so they're very easy to assemble. You purchase all the parts. I give a drill document where, okay, this is where all your holes need to go. And you get the joy of sitting down and building your own pedal.
I love doing that. Hey, with that in mind, where would you suggest people? So if I want to go and purchase one or two of your boards, okay, I don't have a giant part stock in my basement. Where is a good place to find that stuff?
The first place I would go is Small Bear Electronics. They're a pretty big play. I shouldn't say pretty big. They've been going since the 90s. They're based out of Brooklyn. They have all your pedal specific needs in one place. There are other places, but they don't have as good customer service. They don't have all the parts. And Small Bear's website is very easy to navigate. If you're a little bit more inclined to menu dive, Mauser is the way to go. But they're very much geared more towards industry and buying a lot of stuff.
Right. Or people that know
exactly what they want.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a learning curve to going through their website.
Mm-hmm. That is 100% true. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go check out Small Bear because I'm not familiar with that. I've relied on other means to get those things, either from old kits or friends or ordering on a few other sites that also don't have the best service.
Maybe you should try making your own capacitors and resistors at home.
No, I'm pretty sure you could. If Rob Chafe was here, he would be like tearing his eyes out hearing that.
So what else? So we've talked about a couple of things you currently offer, and a couple on the horizon. Are there any other fun things that you're looking to do? Any other types?
No, mostly, at least until I graduate and have more time. I just love FUZZ too much to. Because, God, even beyond that, so I've teased it a bunch of times, but I am working on Maybe, which is a combined yes and no in one box. And so far, it's been so good, but I'm just trying to tease more functionality out of it. Because if I'm just you can buy the two pedals, but I want you to have a reason to buy Maybe. So it's going to offer so much more. It's going to be a nightmare for me to drill. Right now it has four switches. And that may increase.
I love the idea that you continue on with that stretch. And I would hope that one is called Sure and Probably and maybe even All Right.
I have thought about doing an All Right. All Right. The hung jury, which is like 4 or 5 yeses in 4 or 5 no's in a row and 1 yes.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's super nerdy. Oh man.
I also have been working on a No Means No, which is an expanded version of No that I plan on doing a charity thing for.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great idea, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be No Means No, even bigger enclosure. I think I'm going to make it in like an enclosure the size of a brick just to get the point across. And it's going to be probably 3 knobs instead of 2. And it's going to be 2 foot switches, I think.
Or 1 big foot switch.
Oh, yes. It's going to be like the whole pedal is going to be a stomp foot switch.
Wow.
But yeah, I think it'll be No Means No, and I'm looking for charities for victims of sexual assault to give some proceeds away to. So if anyone in your audience works for a good nonprofit, let me know.
Where can people
contact me, Alec at maskaudioelectronics.com.
There you go. All right. That's he's not wearing a cowbell, everybody. That he's drinking.
I'm drinking a lot of water. You got to be hydrated.
That he's sitting in, literally in a closet.
In a closet. It's so hot.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right. Well, this has been a great deal of fun. We're gonna move over to another great deal of fun by the name of Jared, and he's got a little something for us.
Yes, it's called Would You Rather?
Oh, that was so good. You weren't on the episode that does not exist, and your voice was so missed.
I thought I did a fine job.
Yeah, you did. Anyways, go ahead, Jared.
Okay.
He's stuck. All right.
No, we're on track.
No one's ever complimented him like that before.
Thank you.
Apparently.
These guys make me feel like I'm terrible.
No.
No.
Yes, they do. Just kidding. So this Would You Rather this week is from our buddy Yaki Fund. That's his Instagram handle. And it's a very short Would You Rather. You're not walking down the street. You're just somewhere. And you're thinking to yourself, would I rather have my dream guitar? Or would I just rather have my dream pedal board? That's it. Which one would you rather have?
That
Only
is
one or the other?
that is a deceivingly brutal question. Tony,
No, that's not difficult for me.
okay.
I want my own dream pedal board.
I'm not buying that.
No, I'm going with the dream guitar.
Okay.
Yep.
What is
a green? What is it?
Oh my! Well, I've already gotten enough of my dream guitars. I know. Actually, I want to get that Nick Lowe, the SJ.
You should make it.
SJ 200. No, I can't make an acoustic guitar. Yeah. It's SJ 200 Western Classic.
Okay. All right. That's what you would choose?
I would choose that over a dream pedal board.
Okay. All right.
Or should I say a nightmare pedal board?
Oh, all right. Oh. Jared, how about yourself?
That Mutron biphaser is my dream pedal board accessory. So
No,
I pretty much have my
it's your
dream
board.
But you can have
it's
the
a
whole board. You want the whole Mutron collection?
Nah, I think I have what I want out of that collection. I already have all my dream pedals.
All right.
But
So-
I'm done with
So
pedals,
I guess you're going with
I
your
would just
dream amp.
rather, yeah, I'd rather have my dream guitar.
All right.
And what would that be?
I think I already have that too.
Oh, jeez.
I have it's a 62 Gibson SG with the ebony block tailpiece for the vibrato. That's my dream.
What's your other dream guitar?
Okay.
I think
It has to be something you don't have.
I believe it has two necks.
That I want? Oh, yeah, that's right. I would like to have a Gibson Custom Shop EDS 1275 Jimmy Page signature.
You'll
string.
shoot your eye out, kid.
All right.
Two necks. You can only play one at a time.
Do you know how many tuners are on that son of a 18?
18 tuners.
Jeez Louise.
a lot of tuners.
That's ridiculous.
That's 18 strings.
That's
a lot of strings.
Yeah,
It's like 3 sets of strings.
It's like 4 pickups.
It is.
it is. And let's see, Alec, how about yourself?
Oh, I would never. My dream pedal board changes daily. I would never be able to settle down like that. Plus, my dream guitar is a Travis Bean, which are, I think they're going upwards of $3,000 now. So definitely that.
There you go. The big old T on the headstock.
That's right.
Absolutely. Sustain for days.
You'll have one someday.
Lots
I
of
know it.
lots of aluminum.
Electrical Guitar Company, who has picked up the Travis Bean, actually is making new production Travis Bean
Licensed
guitars.
that, hasn't he?
Yes, he
The
has.
Bean family, right?
Yes, from his widow. But he is doing some fantastic stuff.
Oh, that's cool. It's nice that they resurrected that.
Man.
Todd, how about you? Dream guitar, dream pedal board.
I can't nail down any of those. I truly, I don't think I can. On any given moment, I'm thinking about another one. So I think I'd have to say.
How about a dream car?
I think I'd have to say dream pedal board because I could use it with any guitar. And just about any guitar, and I could make it work. And I really like pedals. I really love guitars, but it's hard to nail down like, yes, I want one. I don't know that I have my dream guitar yet. I don't know that I know what that is yet, to be perfectly honest. I like a lot, but I don't know that there's the one out there yet. I hope
How many pedals would be on your dream pedal board?
well, not a ridiculous amount because it wouldn't be just to have them for sake. So I would want it to be like, it makes a sound. I'm kind of close on my dream pedal board actually, but I would want another one that makes a completely different sound. So that's what I'm going with, and it would have like a custom board and a custom case and the whole 9 yards, and
of course,
and proper cabling and the all the bells and whistles. So I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going with. Tell you what, yes, but it would only be filled with. So this is where my dream part would come in. I would only have pedals that were single one-offs, not single one-off circuit designs, just single one-off, a custom builder, a custom graphic or something specifically for me.
Whoa.
Yes.
They'd all be black and gold.
Well, no, I'm not going to go that far. But it would be
your black and gold customs.
I know, but it would definitely be builder's choice. I would want if they were going to do one specifically for me, what would that be? That's probably what I would choose, something like that. Anyways. And who knows? Maybe tonight when I'm dreaming, I'll wake up and I'll like, I know what my dream guitar is now. So if I'm lucky, someday, you gotta have goals and hopes and wishes and desires. And I desire that we start wrapping this one up here. So Tony, what can help us out here?
Would you like me to do something?
Yes, I'd like you to
Read off some names?
Yes.
That's
very important names.
Yes.
The executive producers,
That's
is that
correct.
To which you refer? Okay, so at this point in the show, we'd like to thank a special group of people. Those would be our executive producers.
That's right.
And I'm sure there's at least one person out there saying, what is this executive producer and how can I become one?
It's easy.
Just go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. And once there, you will find several levels in which you can participate. Mm-hmm. Each level comes with a mad flurry of fun prizes and thank yous and that sort of thing.
Keychains.
Barefoot button, keychains, stickers, picks, T-shirts. There's all kinds of stuff there.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to let those folks go out there and look.
Yes.
And just see.
That's right.
But the one level, in addition to all that great stuff, at the executive producer level, they get something else very special.
Yes, they do.
What is that, Jared?
Well, you get to have your name read on the thing.
I'm going to say one more thing that everybody who is a Patreon gets in addition to that. We are doing a whole lot more in the way of giveaways. I have several things that we will be giving away in the next couple of weeks.
Wow.
And maybe even by the time you hear this, some things might have already been given away, but that is going to be something else that we're going to be pushing on quite a bit. So
what you're saying is
if you're a
it
patron,
makes sense to become a patron.
You get a lot of stuff from helping us out. So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Do it.
All righty. How about Doug Gann, Tim Nowak, John Esterly, Chris Heidel, Tig Harmon, Tyler Bray, John Anglin, Anthony Lathrop, Johnny Knowles, Stefan Lamb, Michael McVeigh, Michael Senchuk, Brian Robison, Jonathan Jerusik, Ken Sayers, Corey Nigro,
Carpenter Boston.
Brad Partridge, Michael Van Zant, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Chris Kearney, Sean S. John Daly, Martin Cliff, and Tom Barazin.
All right. Thank you, Tony, for reading that off. And we truly appreciate all of you out there. Seriously, if you like what you hear, we put a whole lot of work into this. We really do. And we do it because we love it, and we hope that you're loving it too. And if you do love it, and you can share the love, we truly appreciate it. Make sure you go over to Instagram and give us a follow, because then you can see all the cool stuff that we got going on, and we have giveaways on there too. aside from just that's how you're going to hear what's going on with the knobs and stuff. Alec, where can people find you? Where can they order your gear?
Well, you can go to maskaudioelectronics.com to order your DIY circuit boards or a black math or a no. Or you can find me on Instagram at maskaudioelectronics.
Correct. And if you had any other questions about the other pedals that he mentioned and you didn't happen to have a dry erase board while you were driving, hit him up and find out how to get a hold of those pedals as well. Tony.
Yes.
Where can people find you?
Well, let's just say you need a special pick guard. You're changing out pickups. You were just tired of that old black or white pick guard. You want something
boring,
snazzy.
Yeah.
Go over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things that I have to offer. If there's something special, just get in touch with me via email. Go over to Instagram for some updates on some fun projects that I've been working on and some oddball things. And that's at Pick Guardian and the number 1.
Perfect. Jared.
Hello. If you have broken pickups or you need new pickups or you want new shiny pickups or anything of the sort, BrandonWildPickups.com. Visit the website. Also on Instagram, I've got some cool one-off-y type of gold foily weird mesh things that I'm doing. So weird mesh things. So have a look-see on Instagram, Brandon Wild Pickups.
Right.
Love
and aside from all the weird stuff that you just mentioned, you make some really great pickups that sound fantastic. P90s, singles, humbuckers. If you want new pickups, you want them to sound awesome, check them out.
Please.
You can hit me up at todd@theguitarknobs.com. And you can also DM me on Instagram. Love to get your messages. Love to get your thoughts. Send us your would you rathers, for Pete's sakes. They're super fun when we get those from people just like we read today. We'll read yours if it's appropriate.
And I'll sing real nice for you.
Yeah. Alec, thanks so much for doing this again.
Oh, thank you for squeezing me in.
Yeah, man, it was great. We appreciate the fact that you took double the time to share your story with our audience, whom we are saying goodnight to right now. Have a great Guitar Week and subscribe.
I got cake in the car. I just remembered I put that cake in the car before I came up to the studio.
Oh, wait, was that recording?
Oh, crap.
Them be some good pedals.
Into the breach.
I have that too.
Dweller!
I thought Botgarten was a German term for cantaloupe. I don't know.
You got to say it way harsher, man. Botgarten! That made the end of the episode right there.
Yes, there we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.